If I had to pick one thriller that influenced me and got me to start writing, it's Marathon Man by William Goldman. I've read that book for the first time. My father gave it to me when I was maybe 15 years old. And I remember reading it, and I remember the feeling as I'm reading it that you could put a gun to my head and I won't put this book down. I was so engrossed and so, captured by the book that I think subconsciously, even then, I said to myself, boy, it would be great. What a great way of making a living, being able to make people feel this way. And I think that's probably, as much as anything else, why I'm a writer today, that book. My favorite thriller director is a pretty obvious choice, Alfred Hitchcock. My favorite Alfred Hitchcock movie is Strangers on a Train. I love that movie. I mean, I love a lot of his movies. They were amongst my favorite, and he clearly was an influence. A lot of times we're asked about influences, and we're supposed to only talk about other writers. But Hitchcock was clearly the everyman, the ordinary man in the extraordinary circumstance. Is clearly something that, in the case of Runaway especially, that's really what Simon is. I'm not a rereader. I never go back and reread the same book twice because there's so many great books that I'm already not getting to that I see no reason yet to go back and revisit. So disappointing answer, I know, but there's no book, can't even think of any crime book that I've reread. There's just so much new out there. There's so many things I want to experience. If you could see next to in my office, all the books that I've gotten, some of them by authors you've never heard of, or books that by debut authors, and I look over at that stack and I'm like, well, I could read something new and try something new, or I could have an experience I've already experienced. So it never wins, sorry. I don't have a favorite murder weapon. I'm not big on those sort of, I guess, polar details. So I guess the human hands, that's probably the most interesting for me. I'm not going to answer my favorite crime writer novelist because I'll always anger somebody. I guess if I had to pick one, I would pick Robert B. Parker, who wrote the Spencer series, because Bob's no longer with us. He's a guy I think that his talents we all miss. And when in his obituary, I was quoted as saying that 90% of mystery writers admit that Robert Parker was an influence and 10% lie about it. He was a giant in the field for many, many years. And so I'll pick Robert Parker.